What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rolando and I got some interesting, very important news for all of us Sony shooters today. Today is Thursday, April 11th, and Sony just released version 3.0 of its software for the A7 line of cameras. So yes, that includes the A7R III and the A7III. Now, there are a lot of things that came with this update, including some bug fixes, but there are two things that I really want to talk about today. The number one being the intervalometer. So before, we had to use something like this that you can buy from Amazon, which is basically like a time release shutter or a separate intervalometer. Ooh, that's a hard word to say. Anyway, that connected to your A7 III because I don't know why, but Sony decided to take out the ability to do time lapses inside the camera. So if you had a previous version of a Sony A7 camera, you had what was called play memories built into the camera and not just on your smartphone device. Now this allowed you to shoot time-lapse videos and combine them and allow you to play them back and see them as one long video. But for some reason, Sony decided to remove that from the camera. Now, as long as I've had my A7 III, which is almost about a year now, maybe even a little bit more, there's only really two things that I wish that it really included. A lot of people talk about 4:2 to 10-bit recording. That really doesn't bother me. I don't do too much color grading, but I have been doing that lately. But also the ability to not carry this thing around with me. I mean, I'm pretty much a minimalist when it comes to shooting, and I try to carry the very least amount of gear as I can possible. And having to take this thing and actually put batteries in it is just another piece of, hassle that I don't want to do. And the other thing being not having a flip out screen, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. So now I have the ability to have that with this firmware update. To be able to shoot the time lapse without carrying this around is a huge plus to me. So I say, hey, good kudos to you, Sony. Great job. So I guess I could just toss that thing out of the way. So the second thing I want to talk about is the ability to do eye tracking without having to assign it to a button. So previously you had to assign it to a custom button, or some of the lenses have a button on the side that you can assign it to. And basically you'll give up that button and you can hold it down and it'll start tracking. But now you have eye tracking almost all the time. And the reason I say almost all the time is because you have to half press the shutter button and then it'll allow you to track subjects, whether it be human or, what this brings me to my point number two, is animal eye tracking. So now with this update, you're supposed to be able to track animals too. And I think that is amazing. There's been plenty of times I wanted to get my dog and I couldn't tell if I was getting him in focus or not, if it was locking on the tip of his nose or what. But now I know for a certain that I can at least take a picture of him and keep all of it in focus. Now, that's all in theory, but let's put this stuff to practice and see if it actually works. So first things first, I need to connect to my PC and download the firmware. Now, before I do that, I also want to let you guys know, if you haven't downloaded firmware and updated your camera yet, this firmware is very obtrusive. And what I mean by that is that once you download and update your software, apparently then restores back to factory default. So your My Memories, everything that you save, make sure you write that down and you put it in the place that you have it. So if it does restore and restart, then you can have that for future reference to put it all back in the way you had it. But hey, that's my tip to you guys. It's a bonus tip for the video. But anyway, let's hop on outside and let's see if we can actually put this stuff to test. Okay guys, I am back and I wanted to share with you my findings and my conclusions of this update. First, let's get the two negatives out of the way. I don't know what's going on with Sony's website, but for whatever reason, I tried to go online and download the update and I just kept getting timed out and getting a 429 error. I guess too many people are excited about this update and everyone is trying to download it. So after about 30 to 35 minutes, I was finally able to get on and download the update. And this is what I found, which brings us to our second negative. The fact that the eye autofocus on animals didn't work. No matter what I did, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't lock onto my dog, at least. I don't know if it's me or if it's my dog, but for whatever reason, it didn't work. I know that it works. Perhaps it was just too sunny. Maybe it was too contrasty or not contrasty enough, but for whatever reason, it just wouldn't work for me. And yeah, I will give it some more go, but that's all the time I have for today. So I'll just have to keep playing with it and figure out what's going on. So after recording this episode, I decided to go back in and to check and do some more research. What I found out is you have to go in and set up the animal eye tracking. So that's why I was able to do it. So you go into the first camera setting and you scroll all the way down to face and eye, and you click on the subject detection. Right now you can see where it says human, and you click on that and select animal. Once you do that, that's all you have to do to set it up, and then you will be able to track the eye of the subject, which is an animal, and you will be able to do this. Notice how the camera intelligently switches eyes. I have to say, this is pretty cool, and I'm happy and glad that I continued to work with it and didn't just give up after the first try. Yeah, guys, this is pretty cool. Well, anyway, back to my normal self. But my understanding is you're supposed to put it in continuous autofocus or AFC mode or whatever it's called, and I had it in that mode, and I tried different wide focus in the area, brought it into center focus area, but whatever I did, it just wouldn't work. All right, and let's go back to the third thing, which is the first positive, and what I think this update really brings to this camera and really enhances it is the fact that we can do interval shooting. And honestly, it's a pretty easy setup. You go to camera 1, page 4, and you're able to pick how many seconds you want, how many shots you want, and the distance in between it, and when you want to start the shot. So no matter if you're using a tripod or not, there's still a little bit of shake when you hit the camera record button, so you can actually set the time to give you time to press the button and move away, and I think that's pretty cool. Now, my shot isn't all that interesting, but the fact that you can do it is really great. So overall, I would say this is a good update and a good step in the right direction. Even though I can't get the animal eye autofocus to work, I'm sure that it will work, and I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the comments or what I was doing wrong or some tips that'll let me know what I'm doing wrong. So anyway, let me know what you think of this update. And are you still loving your A7 III even though it's been out for a while? So let me know your comments down below. Leave a like if this video was helpful to you. And I guess feel free to hit the dislike button if you don't like Sony cameras that have the intervalometer built into it. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.